Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Pray for your blessings today and forever. We bow in submission to your power and glory. Amen.
I think I'll just take charge because of time. Please, CS, can I have the program? The CS has to rush. We have a function with His Excellency the President. Honorable CS, the IG, the President of the Court of Appeal, the President of LSK, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'll just take charge of the program in the interest of time. So we had welcoming remarks, but that's my welcoming remark. Welcome to the PTI. We all know each other. I think most of us know each other. I want to thank you all for coming here. Today, the function is to launch two documents, the Excellence Charter and the Standing Operational SOPs for human rights, if I'm not wrong. That was done jointly by IPOA, the IG, the DCI, also Internal Affairs that falls under the Office of the IG, and the ODPP. And this is an example of interagency cooperation. We managed to come up with the standing orders that will govern how we work in the coming years. So with those few remarks, I will delve straight into the program and ask the LSK President, Mr. Harvey, for 5 minutes only to give his short remarks. Thank you.
Well, this is an ambush I ordinarily listen in and speak after some time. But now that I've been asked to start the submissions, I will do my very best. The Director of Public Prosecutions, my learned friend and senior, Nurdin Haji, together with your team, the people you work with, and the guests, the Inspector General of National Police, Mr. Mutiambai, the President of the Court of Appeal, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of Government. I greet you all. Good morning. Today is a great day, as has always been the great days that we have congregated here to chart the way forward in the manner in which the functions of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions are to be undertaken. As we sat in the lobby, I told Nurdin that I envy his office because of all the independent offices under the Constitution, his has been the most transformative in performing the agenda given to it by the Constitution as well as the statute. And I think it is an initiative that many of us will want to emulate in order that we serve the country in the best manner possible as required of us. As you launch the charter today, the Director of Public Prosecution, I want to affirm the commitment of the Law Society towards what you're doing. And we do this knowing that the Law Society is the repository from which you mine the human resource that enables you to perform the noble function of public prosecution. And now that I'm here, permit me just to say two things within the confines of the 5 minutes that I've been given. Waziri and the Inspector General of Police, I want you to empower the Director of Public Prosecutions in matters that have been of great concern of late: forced disappearance, assassination, and murders. As we speak today, if you read the newspapers, you will hear of many cases that remain unresolved. I think in a state where we have a police service that is well equipped to prevent crime and to invest crime, we should not be hearing of cases of this kind. It is over 3 months now, and one of my members who disappeared has not been found. We do not know whether he's dead, whether he's alive. In the recent weeks, we have experienced cases where people are picked at night in circumstances that cannot be explained, and investigations don't seem to give us direction as to what is happening. I don't need to enumerate all these cases, but Waziri, if we have surveillance cameras, if we have the capacity to detect crime, how is it possible that somebody can be picked from Lavington, his car is found burned in Gong Forest, and his body is found disposed of almost 2 kilometers away? I think we owe Kenyans an explanation of matters of this kind. Well, today was not a day to delve onto all those matters, but I thought it was germane that we speak about it. Mr. Nurdin Haji, I wish you and your team the very best as you continue serving our great nation. God bless you abundantly.
Thank you for keeping the 5 minutes. I was afraid it was going to get longer. I will now ask, I don't know if, I think we have the mic there. I'll ask Miss Sylvia Bertrand, UNODC, Deputy Regional Representative. Oh, it's Charity, Miss Charity Kagu. Oh, sorry. Yeah. See,
Thank you. Good morning. I'll be delivering the remarks on behalf of UNODC Regional Representative. And it's a pleasure to be here this morning to witness this momentous occasion. I adopt the protocols that have been given by LSK chairman, and just congratulate the DPP and his team through the journey that has come to making this document an excellence charter that really looks into 21st century prosecutions, 21st century accountability of a prosecution service. And so we as UNODC are happy to have supported through very many meetings. We supported the technical team within the ODPP as they walked the path in developing this strategic vision. We say this is just the beginning, and we are, as the development partners, walking the path with you. I know it is a difficult path. It is an arduous journey, but the journey of 1,000 steps starts with one step, and we thank you for allowing us to contribute to this, which also contributes to Goal 16, strong institutions and justice for all. So I'll just be speaking very shortly, noting the time limits, and congratulate you on this great work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charity. UNODC is perhaps, together with the EU, our biggest donor, and they've really been with us all through the journey, and we've had a lot of support from both UNODC and the EU. Thank you very much, Charity. I will now ask Ms. Li Fang, the Senior Human Rights Advisor from OHCR, to come and give a few remarks. As I said, there are two documents we are going to launch today. UNODC worked with us on the Excellence Charter, and OHCR worked with us on the SOPs on human rights. Please.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It really is an honor to be here with you all today for the launch of the ODPP Excellence Charter, and also for the launch of the standard operating procedures on the investigation and prosecution of serious human rights violations committed by police officers. The Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, appreciates the cordial and productive working relationship it has had with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in advancing human rights protection through accountability, and this partnership has borne important fruits over recent years. In 2019, ODPP, with the support of OHCHR, undertook a needs assessment on strengthening prosecution capacity on human rights, which reinforced the newly established ODPP Civil and Human Rights Division. This needs assessment also recommended the establishment of a tripartite task force to strengthen cooperation with other key stakeholders engaged on cases involving serious human rights violations. In 2020, this tripartite task force, comprising the ODPP, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, and the National Police Service Internal Affairs Unit and Directorate of Criminal Investigations, was established in order to strengthen cooperation and collaboration in the investigation and prosecution of human rights violations. Over the course of 2020, the tripartite task force, with the support of OHCHR, developed these standard operating procedures that we are launching today through a consultative multi-sectoral process. And I believe that the launch of these SOPs alongside the ODPP Excellence Charter is timely. These SOPs are in line with the Excellence Charter and the priority of strengthening prosecutions, enhancing networks with stakeholders, and using the approach of learning and training to advance these aims. I know that time is short, so I'm going to cut short my remarks, but I just wanted to note that the objectives of the SOPs are to develop a structured framework for enhancing accountability and protection of victims in the investigation and prosecution of serious offences committed by police officers, to investigate violations effectively and promptly, and to provide effective remedies to victims and promote equal and effective access to justice. And human rights provides the foundation upon which the tripartite task force carries out these investigations and prosecutions of serious crimes. In closing, I just want to commend the commitment of the ODPP, of IPOA, and of the National Police Service, and to their leadership in developing these SOPs. And I want to say that as we launch them, I reaffirm OHCHR's commitment to continue supporting the Tripartite Task Force to implement the SOPs and pursue accountability. And this will ultimately contribute not only to enhance human rights protection, but also to strengthen the mandate of the agencies and strengthen public confidence that access to justice in an expeditious manner is attainable for all. Asanteni.
Thank you very much. I think, Mr. President, you can see that we're taking these issues with the seriousness that it deserves. And I want to commend the IG for working with us and coming up with these standing operating procedures that actually look into their workings and the issues of human rights violations. I think it shows our commitment to solving the problem, and that this is not only, it's not unique to Kenya only. It's something that happens the world over. And if I'm to pick on our favorite country to blame, the US has a lot of problems when it comes to black lives and issues of police excesses. But it's how you go about trying to address them. I think we accept criticism and we are cognizant of the fact that we have to deal with it, and these are some of the measures that we've put in place. I've not forgotten the choir, so I'll ask you to come at some point. Don't worry, don't walk out. I now want to invite the Vice Chairperson of IPOA. I'm sorry this dais was not big enough. Next time we'll make sure it's big enough for most of us to fit in here. So the Chairman, welcome.
Of Public Prosecution, Nordin Haji, Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutambai, President of the Court of Appeal, Senior Human Rights Advisor, Li Fang, ODC, LSK President, Nelson Harvey, all distinguished guests, good morning. On behalf of IPOA board, and it is then my great honor and privilege to join you this morning for the launch of the ODPP's Excellence Charter 2023 and the standard operating procedures on investigation and prosecution of serious human rights violations committed by police officers. I want to reiterate that IPOA is highly honored and privileged to be part of this launch, and we want to extend our gratitude and cooperation to ODPP. The extent at which ODPP has given to IPOA on the space of these violations is enormous, and we extremely honor ODPP for the purposes of what we are seeing now and the reforms, as other speakers have just mentioned. We bow and we will commit, DPP, that IPOA will be part of this process to the end. Count us as one of the stakeholders. It is also my pleasure to recognize and thank CS Dr. Matiang'i for all that he has done to bring this sector together, and particularly on the criminal justice way. We honor you. We are together on this. I know it's a long journey. It's very painful. But regardless of the issues and obstacles, IPOA stands up to be with you, particularly on the police reforms. There are many things that people may not understand, and they think when you talk, you are attacking processes and procedures and individuals. Of course, we agree. We agree with you that stepping on people's toes is the way to go this time. People may not agree, but that is the way to go to make this country better. And Buenos Aires, IPOA is privileged to be part of you on this occasion and many others, and particularly on the police reforms. The police reforms have status quo, may want to have other things done, but CS, we are with you and we thank you sincerely. When IG, you have been extremely helpful, on the sermons, on even listening to us sometimes when we make noise, and even at times when we come to you for help here and there, because the police in this country, and I'm saying it openly, are doing an extremely good work. When we go to school, some people understand what happens to protect us, our property. So we are together. We will help you where we can to, and also ensure that the police are accountable. With your leadership, I will cooperate and walk the journey together. It may be painful, sometimes we don't agree, but disagreeing and agreeing is part of this process. And we thank you for all that you have done and intending to do for this service. Much of what we are going to see and what we are going to think together is to change the mindset. And the academy that's coming up around Ngong, which was launched by the president, will be a game changer. And it will be something that will make us reason together and also train and make in-service inroads for the police. As we work towards professionalizing the police, I think you have a noble job ahead of you, and IPOA, as an oversight, will never look for fault. We will say what is right, and few rogue police officers here and there, as detailed by these procedures, will be part of our discussion going forward. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Vice Chair, for that remark. I think you will all note, again, I like picking on the US, that in Kenya we have IPOA, while some of the developed countries do not have anything similar. Maybe we'll take it over to them to see if they can implement it. So we are proud to have IPOA and other independent offices here in Kenya that ensure we have checks and balances within our system. And I would now like to invite my brother and close friend and a colleague, the Inspector General Hilary Mutyambai. Karibu.
Secretary, Minister of Interior and Coordination of National Government, Mr. Nudin Aji, Director of Public Prosecution, Honorable Justice Daniel Musinga, President Court of Appeal, Wycliffe Garland, my brother, Commissioner General of Prison Service, Nelson Avi, President LSK, Jonathan Vice Chairperson IPOA, and I would like to thank you. The comments were very encouraging, and as Inspector General led the National Police Service, working closely with all the stakeholders and consulting as we move forward. And I appreciate those comments. Ms. Dr. Jonathan, Ms. Lee Fang, Senior Human Rights Advisor, Sylvia Bartrat, UNODC, Deputy Regional Representative, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm delighted to join you today during this launch of ODPP Excellence Charter and Standard Operating Procedures on investigations and prosecutions of serious human rights violations committed by my team, that is police officers, and I'm committed to this discourse and correct those areas that we can do. This is meant to enhance efficiency and effectiveness in delivery of services in the criminal justice system. Indeed, I congratulate the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, other stakeholders, and development partners who have participated in developing this document. National Police Service is mandated by law to undertake investigations and later hand over the files to ODPP to prosecute criminal matters in court. In this regard, I give an undertaking that as a service, we shall do thorough investigation of criminal cases so as to give quality cases to enable the ODPP achieve the anticipated excellence in service delivery. Kenya is a signatory to several human rights charters like Universal Declarations on Human Rights and Convention Against Torture, among others. The Kenya Constitution 2010, Chapter 4, is about the Bill of Rights. National Police Service is the country's law enforcement agency and it respects rights of accused persons. However, any rogue officer involved in violation of any rights of a person is usually dealt with within the law. Once again, congratulations, ODPP. National Police Service remains committed to work in close consultation with your office. Thank you, and may God bless you all. Asanteni sana.
Okay. I will now invite the President of the Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Daniel Musinga. My Lord.
Dr. Fred Matiang'i, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government. Mr. Hilary Mutembai, the Inspector General of Police. Mr. Nurdin Haj, Director of Public Prosecutions. Ms. Dorcas Oduor, Senior Counsel and Secretary of Public Prosecutions. Mr. Nelson Harvey, President Law Society of Kenya. Dr. Jonathan Lodompoi, Vice Chairman, IPOA. Ms. Ling Fang, Senior Human Rights Advisor, OHCR, and the representative of UNODC, Deputy Regional Representative. Development partners represented here today, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by conveying sincere apologies of the Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, the Honorable Lady Justice Martha Koome, who, due to other pressing engagements outside Nairobi, was unable to attend this function today. And as a representative of the judiciary, let me make just a few remarks. I want to start by thanking you, Mr. Haji, and the organizers of this event for extending the invitation to the judiciary. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is a critical player in the criminal justice sector, and its linkages with other key players like the police, the Attorney General's office, and the judiciary, to name just but a few, is very important. Each of these institutions must act strictly within their respective constitutional remit, but at the same time, there is need for harmony in our service delivery, or in the interest of justice, because we serve the same people. We must therefore keep on engaging one another and exchange ideas in order to improve our service delivery. The charter that we are launching today is an important milestone on the part of the ODPP and the Inspector General of Police, and speaks volumes about their commitment to excel in discharge of their respective constitutional mandate. The success of the various initiatives pursued by the justice sector actors will largely depend on the efficacy of interagency collaboration. We must individually and collectively strengthen our systems. I am delighted to note that the ODPP is committed to the culture of accountability, transparency, and quality service delivery. The mandate of ODPP, derived from Article 157 of the Constitution, is to institute and undertake prosecution of criminal matters and all other aspects incidental thereto. In this regard, it is my firm belief that the Excellence Charter will enable the office to put in place the requisite tools and infrastructure that will make the prosecutor's office more accessible and responsive to the people of Kenya, one that is accountable, independent, and transparent. The staff at ODPP should be sufficiently equipped and facilitated to carry out their mandate of instituting and undertaking prosecution of criminal matters with competence. Given the very complex nature of criminal activity, corruption, organized crime, and transnational crimes, there is need for renewed focus on innovation and appropriate responses to the emerging trends. And let me congratulate you, Mr. Haji, once again for the efficiency that you have brought to this office. I am personally very pleased by the performance of your officers in the recent past. And I speak this very sincerely. Their professionalism, preparedness, and the degree of research is noticeable when they appear before us. Please keep it up. The complex corruption cases that are coming to our courts are defended by senior and experienced defense counsel who are very well paid, and hence the need to continuously equip prosecutors with the requisite skills to mount successful prosecutions that must be underpinned by watertight evidence. The courts will continue to be guided by the law, evidence, and the facts as presented before them in reaching their findings. We will endeavor to expedite the hearing of all cases in our courts, notwithstanding our staffing challenges due to constrained financial resources. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate the importance of interagency cooperation in the criminal justice chain. The days of shifting blame and finger-pointing amongst the justice sector actors as to who the weak link is should be a thing of the past. We need to restore confidence in the criminal justice sector by playing our respective roles diligently. Kenyans want to see successful prosecutions that result in conviction of offenders and at the same time acquittal of the innocent, irrespective of their status in society. That is the only way we shall win the war against corruption and the growing crime that threatens the security and development of our great country. We cannot, therefore, operate on asylum mentality. For us to tackle delays in the delivery of justice and bridge gaps that arise in cases, we will need to work in tandem with each other. I am glad that the commitment to cooperation and collaboration between the ODPP and the judiciary can be clearly showcased more recently through the integration of our case management systems. This integration is intended to streamline communication between us and increase efficiency in our joint work. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, our DPP and your team, for this invitation, and congratulations for the excellent work that you are doing. God bless you all. God bless Kenya.
Marks before we ask the CS. Of course, before I read mine and then ask the CS.
Thank you. The Cabinet Secretary, Interior and National IG, Inspector General Mutiambai, Mr. Nurdin Haji, Honorable Justice Daniel Musinga, President of the Court of Appeal, Mr. Nelson Harvey, President of the Law Society of Kenya, development partners of government agencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I raise remarks on behalf of the Honorable Attorney General here this morning. However, due to cabinet commitments, he was not able to join you this morning. But even before I give the Honorable Attorney General's remarks, allow me kindly to congratulate you on my very own behalf on the launch of the Excellence Charter and the SOPs of the human rights by the police. It is now my humble duty to give the Honorable Attorney General's remarks on this auspicious occasion. It gives me great honor to be invited once again by the Director of Public Prosecution for yet another milestone in the National Prosecution Service. These milestones are key building blocks towards professionalization of the ODPP. We will recall that the Prosecution Office was a department within the Office of the Attorney General up until the year 2010, when the Constitution of Kenya delinked these functions and placed state powers of prosecution squarely in the independent office of the DPP. Since then, you have continued laying the bricks that will cement you as an independent office, steadily growing your staff numbers and surpassing the 1,000 mark. Although your staffing levels are not as adequate, the current staffing levels show great enterprise on the part of the ODPP in growing its staff strength to better serve Kenyans in all the 47 counties. The ODPP has built on its first strategic plan that ran from 2011 to 2015, and thereafter the 2016 to 2021 strategic plan. I note that the Excellence Charter outlines your milestones and focuses your 6 strategic commitments and priorities, that is independence and integrity, lifelong learning, reshaping prosecution, leadership, organizational effectiveness, and interagency networks. The Excellence Charter also prioritizes key drivers that will accelerate the strategic objectives formulated in the ODPP Strategic Plan 2016-2022 for the period 2020-2023. This will ensure that the ODPP is able to leap forward from the trajectory that was set in its strategic plan. Through your vision, Bwana Director, we have witnessed the ODPP move from the NSSF to standalone headquarters. We have further witnessed the creation of 9 regional offices intended to decentralize ODPP functions and allow for better service delivery to Kenyans. I note that the specialized departments, divisions, and units that have been created will further the mandate of the office, specifically the establishment of the Prosecution Training Institute, on whose grounds we stand today. The Prosecution Training Institute, okay, can you hear me? Is a game changer in the criminal justice sector and will further your strategic commitment to pursue lifelong learning. The Prosecution Training Institute is a project worth supporting, and you can count on my support in its growth. As you set down the priorities and strategic commitments that you wish to be held accountable to, I encourage you to pursue areas of criminal law, cybercrime, and environmental offenses. Bridge the existing gaps in knowledge in this area by designing training programs that can be offered at the Prosecution Training Institute to serve the criminal justice sector. Remember that a case is only as good as the evidence that is collected by the law enforcement agencies. I therefore urge you for there to be enhanced collaboration and capacity building within the law enforcement agencies. They ought not be left behind in this journey to excellence. Look at ways you can incorporate law enforcement agencies into ODPP programs and ways that can have joint trainings where applicable. I further urge you to look into law reform within the criminal justice sector and identify laws that may require amendments so as to align with the Constitution of Kenya. I encourage you to make remedial recommendations to my office for further action. As we head towards the election season, consider electoral offenses as a unique area of criminal law and develop mechanisms that can mitigate electoral offenses. As the Chief Legal Advisor, I will continue to provide support when it comes to seeking better terms and conditions of service. This is to ensure that we have the capacity to hire and retain the best. As you know, the Office of the Attorney General and the Department of Justice have been impacted by staff turnover, as you have. Through the National Council on the Administration of Justice and the multi-agency team framework, I assure you of my support in the realization of the strategic commitments in the Excellence Charter. I call on other players in the sector to emulate the pursuit of excellence set out in your Excellence Charter and set out their own path towards providing exemplary public services, because that is our responsibility. I take this opportunity to once again congratulate the ODPP family and the Director in the launch of the Excellence Charter and the SOPs, and wish to convey my sincere well wishes in achieving its objectives. Signed by the Honorable Justice Retired P. Kiera, AGH. I thank you.
Thank you. In the interest of time, I want to recognize Mr. Nelson Kahishuya from the National Treasury, who is the CAS. Maybe he can stand up. Yeah. It's just that the CS has to leave, so you'll excuse me. I also want to recognize the presence of His Excellency Mr. Jabor, who is the ambassador of Qatar here. Maybe you can stand up, sir. Just to say. Thank you. I will now read my speech. Honorable Dr. Fred Matiang'i, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Security. Honorable Justice Daniel Musinga, the President of the Court of Appeal. Mr. Hilary Mutiambai, Inspector General of Police. His Excellency Ambassador of Qatar, Honorable Jabor. Dr. Jonathan Lodompui, Vice Chairperson IPOA. Mr. Nelson Harvey, President of the Law Society of Kenya. Members of the ODPP Advisory Board, development partners present, colleagues, Ladies and gentlemen, good morning once again. We welcome all of you and welcome your presence here. Your presence is a testament to your unwavering commitment to the cause of justice. You have been tireless and extraordinary advocates in our nation's quest for justice as we mark this milestone. We could not ask for a better guest list than this. Thank you very much for coming. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. This was said by Aristotle. For real change to occur, for us to overcome mediocrity, then we must encourage, embrace, and employ habits that bring excellence. It is not enough to change our office bearers or even jobs. The pursuit of excellence is a high ideal and also an individual choice which can only be achieved through a culmination of deliberate habits. It is this ideal that we must aspire towards meeting, and indeed, it is what the Constitution and the Kenyan people demand of us. It is what we have set for ourselves, and we are excited to present to you the ODPP Excellence Charter. Our strategic commitments is an ambitious and bold plan that we have set out to achieve in the next 3 years. This is our commitment to Kenyans. As most of you may remember, the development of the Excellence Charter started over a year ago through a thought leadership and strategic plan development seminar that was held in Naivasha. During the seminar, we were all engaged in the critical analysis of the previous strategic plan and tasked to propose the future of the ODPP. This gave way to the charter that we are launching today. Honorable Minister, the charter sets out and focuses on the organization that we want to be, a prosecution service that is responsive to the needs of Mwananchi, a worthy cause indeed. It is our main objective to inject accountability, transparency, legitimacy, public confidence, and quality control in all our operations with the overall aim of transforming the ODPP into a 21st century prosecution service. In this journey, we shall be shepherded by 6 strategic commitments: independence and integrity, lifelong learning, reshaping prosecutions, leadership, organizational effectiveness, and interagency network. To achieve them, we will need commitment, sacrifice, and creativity. These commitments reflect our vision of being a just, fair, independent, and responsive prosecution service. To complement the Excellence Charter, the office has also developed the service delivery standards. These standards are intended to inculcate a culture of excellence in the provision of prosecution services, guided by the ODPP's core values of integrity, independence, transparency, accountability, professionalism, innovativeness, and team spirit. The standards will govern staff performance and empower the public to demand such standards as a right. We therefore must go out of our way to render quality and timely services. Do not forget that the Excellence Charter is anchored on 3 pillars, namely recasting, retooling, and relearning. I can proudly state, Honorable CS, that as an office, we have made significant milestones under each of these pillars. Under recasting, we have collaborated with local and international justice institutions and partners involved in the governance, justice, law, and order sectors. We seek to further strengthen and deepen these collaborations. Some of you seated here today have benefited from this collaboration, such as the exchange program to the United States of America, under the USDOJ, under the trips to the UK under the BHC, the British High Commission, and the Attorney General's alliances. In addition, my office, the Inspector General of Police, Internal Affairs, and IPOA, as I said earlier, has partnered with the Office of High Commission on Human Rights in the development of standard operating procedures on investigations and prosecutions of human rights violations committed by law enforcement officers in Kenya. The objective of the SOPs is to enhance inter- and intra-agency collaboration and coordination between the investigation and prosecution of cases, and further ensure accountability, transparency, and expeditious resolution of complaints from victims of police violations. Further, we continue to recruit new staff and have put in place strategies to ensure retention of the highest caliber of staff within the ODPP. And this will be done under the Excellence Charter, which enumerates the various areas that we will cover as ODPP. In regards to the fight against corruption, we have made great strides through the prosecution of a number of high-level cases. In corruption cases, the conviction rate increased from 37.6% in 2017 to 70% as at April of 2021. The amounts involved in the 140 high-impact cases pending before court as at April 2021 is Kenya shillings 226 billion, with 59% of these cases being registered in the courts between January 2018 and April 2021. The general conviction rate for all cases improved from 90.2% in 2017-2018 to 92.5% in 2019-2020 and 91% at Q3. We have every reason to lift our heads high and walk tall. We will, however, always work to improve on these indicators. And the Excellence Charter will assist and help the ODPP aim higher and deliver its mandate more effectively. It is also a tool that the public can oversight us on and take us to task. We have developed sufficient tools that can help us effectively discharge our mandate. The decision to charge, plea bargaining, diversion, and the national prosecution policy, among others. We have also made improvements to our infrastructure and working environments so as to enable a conducive working environment. We have therefore facilitated our team to have no excuse to deliver the best results. With the development of the Excellence Charter, it is no longer going to be business as usual. Each of us will be expected to roll up their sleeves and invest all their energies towards implementing this charter to the letter. Towards this end, the office has come up with a performance management appraisal framework to ensure performance is maintained at optimal levels and remedial measures are undertaken to maintain high performance. We have also put in place a monitoring and evaluation committee intended to keep track of interventions, projects, and policies that have been undertaken under the Excellence Charter. It is their mandate to ensure that we are able to maintain the trajectory visualized in the Charter and to take the necessary measures towards this, bearing in mind changes to internal and external factors, of course, like COVID-19. This aims at ensuring that we are adaptive to changes without losing track of the vision that we have set forth. It is imperative to note that the office, through technical support from Lawyers Without Borders, is developing an automated performance management system to fit into this. I would like to remind you all that the innovations within the Excellence Charter are only the beginning of what we can achieve as we move towards a 21st century prosecution service. And we really thank the UNODC for standing with us and ensuring that we've delivered this. I encourage all of you to continue challenging conventional thinking and to continue innovating ways in which we can push the office forward. I thank everyone in the ODPP family for their hard work over the past year and their dedication to delivering justice despite the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. I admire your professionalism, sacrifice and commitment, my colleagues. I'm confident that we will achieve and even surpass the 6 ambitious strategic commitments set out in the Excellence Charter. I want to give my special thanks to the EU for supporting us in the development and publication of the Excellence Charter, and the UNODC, who helped us deliver it, and all our other development partners who, through their partnership, we moved closer to realizing our vision and mission. I want to thank the CS and the IG for always answering to our invitations and coming forward and supporting us in realizing our vision. Thank you very much, sir. And we don't take it for granted, considering he has to now go and meet with His Excellency the President. He still was able to create time for us. Excellence in itself is not merely a destination, but a continuous journey that never ends. And you really need support for that, and we thank the Honorable CS. I have no illusions that achieving our mission will be easy. It never has been. But I also have no doubt that we are equal to the task. We have now embarked on that journey as the ODPP, and may we not tire as we pursue excellence. Thank you, and God bless. It is now my singular honor to invite the Honorable CS to give his remarks. Thank
you. Musinga, the President of the Court of Appeal, the Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Nurdin Haji, the Inspector General of the National Police, Mr. Hilary Mutiambai, my colleagues from the national government who are here, including our Commissioner General, National Police Service, Prison Service, the Assistant Minister for Finance, the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Mr. Harvey, our development partners who are represented here by various institutions, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it gives me great pleasure to be here. And let me start my brief remarks by very sincerely congratulating you, DPP, and your team, Dorcas, and all these wonderful people you work with, for upholding the highest possible standards of managing an independent office such as you have done to the ODPP. It's a fact that sometimes in public life in Kenya, we sometimes don't tell each other the truth. There was a time when somebody was given a responsibility to run an independent office some time back in the country. I think, Mr. Harvey, you might remember it was somebody from your organization. And he spent most of the time addressing press conferences every week, talking about everything from the weather to government vehicles to everything. And there was nothing to show for it. And, you know, he served out his term and that was it. And look at how long Mr. Haji has been the DPP, and look at what we know and what we can see about the ODPP. I sincerely thank you, because now you can see a very serious institutionalized framework of getting some work done. And as you walk into this compound, you cannot, of course, fail to notice the level of commitment and seriousness in the work that you want to put in place. I congratulate you again, I thank you, and I pledge on my own behalf and on behalf of my colleagues in the security sector that we will continue to collaborate with you. I usually, secondly, find it important to say this in an environment such as this, because we in the executive branch are the ones who are always accused of being overreaching, overbearing, intrusive, meddlesome, and so on. I sincerely recognize and we respect the independence of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. We are only collaborators, and everything I say here is just an observation, and we will keep our peace and respect the lines that are drawn for us by the Constitution. We enjoy working together, and we remain everlastingly grateful for us in the security sector for the environment that has been set for us by His Excellency the President when he demanded of us that we create a multi-agents framework of delivering in the security sector. My brother, the Inspector General, the Commissioner General, Prison Service, can admit here that ever since the President insisted that we all have to sit around the table and deal with issues relating to the justice sector collaboratively, we have, of course, learned that constructive cooperation is the way to go, and constructive cooperation is not compromise. We do not interfere with each other. We respect the independence of the officers that we have, and we will continue to work with them. That is why, number three, now that we're here, I would like my brother, the Vice Chair of the IPOA, to look around this compound and take a leave. I am prepared, as I've told you before, to persuade the Inspector General of Police to give you some land from there's so much land that the police have now, so that you also can build an independent institution in IPOA, where you have an office where you work from, so that you don't look like you're scrounging or depending on others, so that you can develop the confidence of your officers and the independence of your office, so that even as you oversight us, you don't look like you're so dependent on us in order to deliver on the mandate that you have been given. Fourthly, DPP, the launch of the Excellence Charter is new ground that you're broken. Frankly, you are the only institution I know in the criminal justice sector that has gotten to this point. And you have immediately with that thrown a challenge at all of us. Inspector General, I believe you have taken very good note of this. My good friend, Mr. Ogalo, I hope you are taking good note of this. And my brother from the IPOA, I hope you are taking good note of this, that the ODPP is now blazing the trail. And we need to follow suit and develop this culture of excellence in the manner in which we do things. Agreeing to develop an accountability framework to itself is the first admission by the ODPP that they are ready, prepared, and willing to serve in a modern way and in a manner that meets the demands of our time. For the short time that we have been working together, we have noticed your consistent quest to improve your standards of practice, to improve your delivery of service, and none other than the President of the Court of Appeal has testified here this morning that the standards of your work have indeed improved. We encourage you and also request you with a measure of humility to unhold those others within the ecosystem of the criminal justice system to strive to live up to the standards that you have set. I will fail if I do not make this promise this morning. We are committed to working together. There is no way we are going to succeed as if we work in silos. The multi-agents framework we have in place, or the inter-agents collaboration that we have in place, is working well for us. And DPP, I want to commit myself that from the law enforcement part, we will do our part. Of course, law enforcement is a chain. When I was on this podium last time, I said, for example, what we are doing in the National Police Service to improve the capacity of investigation, so that when we send files to you, you don't have to send them back several times. That we have created a new cadre of police officers, all of them graduate trainees who are undertaking a one-year program now, and when they graduate, they will graduate as cadet police officers. And we have drawn them from all fields. We have several lawyers in that group. We have medical doctors there, and we have scientists and IT experts in that group, so that as we go into new ground of working on crime like cybersecurity, we have capability to be of value to the ODPP, so that you don't have to every time send a file back to us. Because as I said last time, and Mr. Mutiambai will take this in his stride, you do not expect that if we can't even get grammar right, we can be useful to the ODPP. We have to give the ODPP staff that he can work with. And that's why, with the investment the government is making in the new forensic laboratory at the DCI headquarters, with the new investments we are making in training new officers, we are trying to measure up to the expectations of fighting crime in the modern environment in which we find ourselves. Finally, my brother, the President of the Law Society of Kenya, I agree with you. And then frankly, as a country, we long lost the days of arguments even on things that are straightforward that you can see. And I take in your stride your concerns about the level of crime and the investigations that we need to carry out. All I ask is that let us now adopt a collaborative approach. You know, the most important words in our Constitution, and that's the first line of our Constitution, is that we the people of Kenya. It's not we, the executive branch of the Republic of Kenya, or we, the judiciary of the Republic of Kenya, or we, the lawyers in the Republic of Kenya. It is we, the people of Kenya. And those words belong to all of us. We've come to a point in the country when we need to have very collaborative conversations on how we deal with these issues. The Inspector General can testify to this. We have invested heavily in tracking down crime, some of it very sophisticated. But we want to ask members of the public also to collaborate with us. All these people who are running wash activities in Thika, all these characters we are picking from estates engaged in money laundering and so on, all these characters we finally trace who are trying to abduct kids, live in our midst. It's very helpful sometimes for the public also to be conscious of the rising levels of crime. Some of the criminality we are dealing with, which is sophisticated, is related to lifestyle. That because we become intensely materialistic, people are running rackets, money laundering rackets that are covered for a very long time. But the time the police stumble on this, they have taken away lives. And look, my brothers and sisters, look where we find ourselves. Look at our borders, and look who are our neighbors, and look at the challenges of policing a country with the kind of porous borders that we have. In 2 years alone, we have collected close to about 14,000 guns, over 400,000 bullets from wrong hands. Tomorrow we'll be burning another huge pile of those guns. That says something about where we find ourselves, which means unless we all collaborate and come together and work together, I am happy to sit down with everyone. You know, we are public servants. It is our responsibility. The buck stops here. I will not shirk. I will not hide from my responsibility. I will not blame the Law Society of Kenya or blame anyone for asking me questions. I am paid to answer questions. Let's work together on this issue of crime in the country. And when some of these things, even when some of these people end up in your offices as lawyers, as you draw agreements for them and try to advise them on how they do business, some of the criminal activities that you help facilitate through your agreements, please bring it to our attention in good time so that we can get these people. Manam Nagani. That is it. Let us work together on this thing. You know, white-collar crime in this country is facilitated by some of us, as it were. And by the time we are pushing Mutiambai and pushing Kinoti and finally giving a file to Nurdin, a lot of madness has happened in the process. But if we adopted a very collaborative effort, we'll be able to do with it. This does not mean that we will shy away from our response. We will do our part. The Inspector General knows how much pressure we are putting him under and how much pressure the National Security Council has put him under. He knows the demands His Excellency the President has made of him on some of these issues that we deal with. We do not condone crime and the violation of human rights, even by our men and women in uniform. And there is evidence that we have disciplined those of our officers who have gone outside the service standing orders. And that's why I'm so grateful, very, very grateful indeed, IG, that we collaborated with the ODPP through our internal affairs unit in coming up with the service orders that are improved here, especially on the violation of human rights. I assure you, and I pledge to you, especially IPOA, that any time you will need investigations, any time you need information on all this, we will collaborate fully, and we will work with you fully. And ODPP and all of you good people, I promise that we will do our part. But let us work together so that we can make our country a much better place. We have done so much, and we have come so far. But I know there's more to be done. There is some more distance to be covered. We pledge our commitment in working with you in that direction. Whatever we can do to ensure that our institutions work and work for the good of our people, we will do it. I cannot thank you enough, DPP and your team, for showing the way, for the solid manner in which you have led. You have led from the front, not from press conferences, but from the wonderful work that you have done in our country. Redefined this office of the Director of Public Prosecution, given it a very high moral character, and given it an institutional image that we all desire as we go forward. So we wish you well, and we will walk all the way as we serve our people. May God bless you, wonderful people. Congratulations again. And I think with those many remarks, I declare the documents we are launching today officially launched, except for the ceremony that you are going to take us through. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I think, is there something we are pressing, or we come down? Okay, we'll go down.
Every journey begins with a single step. And every single step is driven by courage. Courage is what keeps us going despite the many uncertainties.
Is Peter Tomachi.
Wanyama, 3-2 level di Kenya.
Fabulous run up, very, very fast arm from Diego. Oh, that looks big, it looks huge. Diego has gone out way, way beyond 90 metres.
140, the unofficial time. There's his wife. Eliud Kipchoge storms.
But even with courage, you need strategy. That's why at the ODPP we are launching the Excellence Charter, our strategic commitment.
Imani tutete bila kubagua.
The Excellence Charter identifies 6 strategic commitments to facilitate realization ya goals. The Excellence Charter identifies 6 strategic commitments to facilitate realization ya goals zetu by injecting accountability, transparency, public confidence, and quality control into all our operations. Easy commitments zimeundwa kulete fundamental reforms within the ODPP over the next 3 years. The aim of the charter is to transform the ODPP into a prosecution service yenye ni responsive kwa needs za wanjiko. The charter adopts a 3-pronged approach, that is, recasting, retooling, and relearning. For recasting strategy, the ODPP embraces a 3C approach of collaboration, cooperation, and coordination with both internal and external stakeholders in the criminal justice sector. The retooling strategy hufocus kufanya the ODPP ikuwe rada safi. And lastly, the relearning strategy hufocus kupea staff skills muhimu za kudeliver mandate ya the ODPP. The 6 strategic commitments zitatusaidia kutimiza wajibu wetu. Hizi commitments ni 1. Independence and integrity. Hii husisitiza jukumu kuu la the ODPP la kuheshimu the constitutional independence with fidelity and courage. 2. Lifelong learning. Hii hufocus kupea staff skills muhimu za kudeliver mandate na kuadapt international best practices within the country, hence the establishment of the Prosecution's Training Institute. 3. Reshaping prosecutions. Hii hudai kumodernize prosecution kwa kufocus on the fight against corruption na achieving excellence in complex litigation and emerging crimes. 4. Leadership. Leadership huwa kwa level zote za hii organization. Hii ofisi ita-adopt a servant leadership philosophy, establish a leadership bureau na mentoring initiatives. 5. Organizational effectiveness. Hii hufocus on strategic communication, responsive organizational structure, and delivering of quality prosecutions and performance management. And lastly, 6. Interagency networks. He who focus on reshaping our operations in collaboration with our external stakeholders. We recognize the importance of monitoring, evaluation, and reporting in the achievement of our objectives. Kwa hivyo, kutakuwa na monitoring and evaluation framework and performance management system yenye imedesigniwa kuensure actual performance is measured against agreed targets. Na itaendelea ivo. Wadau, subscribe. Muhimu jo, ndio mkwe rada. Tunaahidi mashtaka yenye haki na usawa.